Enough lighting. Dark kitchens are not good because they make food preparation difficult and can cause eye problems. Windows and skylights can be used to let more light in. Air vents will also help. Another solution could be constructing a separate outdoor food preparation area. Sanitation. The kitchen and washing area is where many diseases are caught and spread. If the kitchen is healthy and easy to clean, then many diseases can be prevented. A well-designed kitchen will make sanitation much easier to achieve and maintain. Vinegar and lemon are both good natural cleaning substances. Add a little to the water used for cleaning the food preparation area and floor. This will help to kill some bacteria which could cause disease. The food preparation area. It is best if the food preparation area is off the ground, about waist height, and easy to clean. This will keep animals far away from the food. It will make it easier to keep clean. It can cause less backache. Staying in a squatting position for too long causes back pain and makes food preparation more difficult. Food storage. Store food in bags or containers that animals and insects can't enter, such as drums for rice and corn, used biscuit tins, plastic boxes, etc. The floor. The kitchen floor is easier to clean if it is raised slightly higher than the ground outside. A floor made of rock or cement are both good examples of materials which can be easily cleaned. Animals. No animals should be allowed in the kitchen area. Chickens, dogs, cats, and pigs all carry bacteria, which can make people sick. The risk of disease increases if animals are often around the kitchen area. Chickens, for example, often defecate in the kitchen. This is not just unhealthy, but it also brings a very unpleasant smell. Save all food scraps in a bucket or container and feed them to the animals far away from the kitchen area. Make a door to prevent animals from entering. A door can be just a simple frame of wood with a wire screen. It costs a little money, but is worth it because people's health will improve. Even just a low door to prevent dogs, pigs, and chickens is good, but a complete door will also prevent mice and mosquitoes from entering. Washing area. It is good to have a small table. This can be easily made from bamboo for drying kitchen dishes and utensils. Dish towels should be washed often because they easily become dirty and will spread bacteria from dish to dish. It is important to manage and reuse all water. Doing this will provide many benefits. The following ideas may be used for washing water and washroom water. If possible, combine them together to make less maintenance work. A. Leftover wash water can be run into a pond. Because this water still contains soaps and detergents, this pond should not be used for growing vegetables or fish. The water can be cleaned using water plants that absorb the chemicals and nutrients from soaps and detergents and store them in their leaves. To clean household water properly for one family, the pond will need to be 3 meters by 3 meters or larger, about 1 meter squared per person. First, fill the pond with sand and small rocks. Plant the water plants in the sand and trim regularly. This plant trimming may be used as mulch for fruit trees. Leave space for water to overflow, especially during the wet season. This overflow water can be run through trenches into a compost pit or through vegetable pots. B. A trench can be made by digging about 40 to 50 centimeters deep, about 5 to 10 meters long, and 50 centimeters wide. Fill the trench halfway with sand and small rocks and grow water plants to improve the trench's water cleaning ability. Extra water that flows out of the trench can be run into a compost pit or through swales. Banana and papaya trees can also be planted along the edge of the trench. C. On sloped land, water can be run through a pipe or small trench. For areas where water is in shortage, this method works very well. It is practical and easy to maintain. Smart ideas. Build a fence around any ponds, trenches, or swales which are used to clean household water to prevent animals like ducks, pigs, goats, cows, and buffaloes from drinking the water or eating the plants. This unclean water can make animals sick, and the animals might damage the cleaning system. Water hyacinth is a good plant to use for cleaning water. It lives on top of the water and multiplies very quickly. Lotus plants will also work well. Many people wash clothes in the river because there is no other water supply available. If other water sources are available in your village, it is best not to wash clothes in the river to reduce pollution from washing powders and detergents. Create a system where used water from the washing area, kitchen, and washroom are combined. This will make it easier for the water to be cleaned and reused for watering fruit trees and vegetable plots. Remember, this is from Indonesia. Washrooms. There are many different ways to make a washroom, from simple compost showers to washrooms made of rock, clay, or cement blocks. Choose building materials that are easily accessible in your area. The most important thing is to reuse the leftover water! So the most important thing is to reuse the leftover water. Oh, so you don't waste water. Compost showers. Compost showers are made by digging a hole about 2 meters wide and 1 meter deep. This is an inexpensive and simple way to directly reuse water. There are two methods of making a compost shower. Method 1. To allow water to easily be filtered into the earth. Fill the hole with a 10 centimeter layer of palm fiber. This should also cover the sides of the hole. Add rocks, coral, or stone until almost full. Add gravel to fill in the gaps, and a top layer of gravel about 5 to 10 centimeters thick. Method 2. Fill the hole halfway with coffee or rice husk. This will soak up the water. Then build a floor using eucalyptus poles and woven bamboo panels. This type of floor will rot within 1 or 2 years, so the floor will have to be rebuilt over and over again. Build a simple structure surrounding the shower to give privacy and to provide a trellis for vines to grow. All the water will be stored in the ground to be reused by trees and plants. Plant banana trees, pumpkins, gourds, loofah, watermelon, papaya trees, pineapples, chilies, tomatoes, passion fruit, and other plants around the edge of the shower. These plants will absorb and reuse the water from the shower. Washroom designs. A washroom can be made from any available materials. Clay, rock, or cement will last a long time. Use a cement-based render or tiles to protect the walls. A rock, cement, or tile floor is easy to keep clean and hygienic. The washroom doesn't have to be square. Bamboo wood or woven bamboo panels can also be used, but these materials will grow moss and mold because of moisture, so they will need to be replaced more often. The mold is also a health risk and can spread disease. If you use a tin roof, water can easily be collected in a drum or tank for use in the washing area. Used water can be run out through pipes or trenches to be reused. If possible, use a pipe, because it will be easier to maintain. Look in the kitchen section for ideas on how to clean and reuse water. You can also combine the used water from the washing area and kitchen into one water cleansing system. Compost toilets. Human waste can be turned into valuable fertilizer but it must first be treated and composted properly to avoid spreading disease. A compost toilet provides many benefits. It produces good fertilizer. It uses little or no water. It reduces and prevents disease problems. This is turning a problem into a solution. Compost pit toilet. A compost pit toilet is very simple to make and use. Dig a large hole about 1 to 1.5 meters deep and 2 meters in diameter. Use the dug out soil to make a mound around the edge of the hole. Build a strong floor above the hole. Make a small hole in the center of the floor. This will be the toilet hole. Make a lid to cover the hole for when the toilet is not in use. Build a simple toilet house around the toilet to provide privacy. This can be made of wood, bamboo, palm leaf, or grass. Choose materials that are inexpensive and easily available. To help reduce bad odors, build the door in the direction where the wind most often comes from. A ventilation pipe can be added to the toilet hole to increase the speed of composting and to reduce any bad odors. This could be a bamboo pipe, with the insides cleaned out. Insert the bamboo into the hole in the toilet floor. To prevent flies or insects from entering, make sure any gaps between the pipe and floor are sealed. The time it takes for the pit to become full depends on the size of the pit. Usually it will take around 1 to 2 years. When the toilet pit is full, dig another pit to be used. Add leaves, rice, husks, and other materials to the first pit and leave it to compost for at least another 6 months. After this time, the manure can be removed and used for fertilizing fruit trees. The pit can then be used again. By this time, the floors and walls will need to be rebuilt. How to use a compost pit toilet. Add 1 large handful of rice husks, coffee husks, or sawdust every time the toilet is used. This will turn the waste into fertilizer and stop it from smelling. Add 1 bottle of EM, effective microorganisms, every month to help speed up the composting process. This is very important. Add about 5 handfuls of wood ash or lime every week. This will help the manure decompose faster and make better quality fertilizer. When the toilet is not being used, always keep a lid on the toilet hole in the floor. This will prevent flies from entering the hole. Flies can spread diseases from the manure. No water is needed. The manure works better with little or no water added. It is better not to use the pit for urinating. Urine can instead be used to fertilize mature fruit trees. No water is needed. The manure works better with little or no water added. It is better not to use the pit for urinating. Urine can instead be used to fertilize mature fruit trees. During the wet season, bacteria from the toilet could enter the river through groundwater. This can cause disease if people use the contaminated river water. To prevent this, dig the pit as far away from the river as possible. So again, this is in Indonesia. Plants. Banana, pumpkin, loofah, and passion fruit are the best plants to grow around the edge of the toilet. Citrus trees can also be planted nearby. The bad bacteria and taste doesn't transfer to the plants or fruits. Don't plant root vegetables that might directly touch the decomposing manure, as this could spread disease. Smart ideas. Don't use the toilet as a place to throw trash. Compost toilet systems. There are many different types of compost toilets with many different designs. You can find more detailed information about different types of compost toilets on the internet. In this book, only one type will be explained. It is a simple design that is easy and inexpensive to maintain and is already being used in many countries. 2-box compost toilet. This compost toilet is simply 2 cement boxes joined together. The boxes are made of cement blocks. Each box is about 1 meter cubed, 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter on the inside. The cement boxes must be rendered on the inside and outside to make them waterproof. On top of the boxes, make a cement slab about 10 centimeters thick. Use steel reinforcing rods in the cement to strengthen it. This is important because the toilet must be strong enough to support the weight of people on top. On top of each box, create a 2 centimeter wide hole in the center to be used as the toilet hole. Each hole will need a lid to cover the toilet when it is not in use. Each box will need a small door on one side for removing compost when it is ready to be used. The door should be big enough for a shovel to fit through. A simple wall should be built around the toilet to provide privacy. The easiest method is to add wooden or bamboo poles at each corner while the cement boxes are still being made, while the cement is still wet. Remember to make the door to the toilet facing where the wind most often comes from. This will help to reduce any bad odors. Ventilation pipe. A ventilation pipe improves composting and reduces bad odors. They are used for most types of compost toilets. With this type, it is not essential but recommended. Use a piece of bamboo or a pipe about 1.5 to 2 meters long. This air ventilation pipe should be attached while the cement boxes are still being made, while the cement is still wet, so that one end of the pipe is inside the box to allow air to move out of the cement box through the pipe. Water conservation. This toilet does not need any water. In fact, it will not work if water is used. Instead, use toilet paper, tissue. Water will flood the system and stop the manure from decomposing. People using this toilet should urinate elsewhere because too much urine can also cause problems. Urine can be mixed with water and used for other things like fertilizing fruit trees. Removal pipe. A removal pipe can be added at the bottom of each box to allow any excess liquids to flow out. Wire mesh must be added at the start of the pipe to prevent any solid items from also flowing out. When adding a removal pipe, there are some important factors to consider. The wire mesh may often become blocked and will need cleaning. The liquid that comes out must flow through a water cleaning pond or trench, such as described in the kitchen section. Use this toilet in the same way as you would a compost pit toilet. For one family, it will take about 6 months to completely fill one box. After the first box is full, the other box can be used. Leave the first box for 6 months so that the manure can decompose and become compost. There is no need to stir. After the second box is also full, the compost can be removed from the first box, and it can then be used again. This compost can be used for fruit trees, but is not recommended for vegetables because it is too strong. Smart ideas. If there are many people using the toilets, it is better to build more boxes rather than to make the boxes bigger. Build enough boxes so that the material in each box can be left for 6 months to decompose and become compost. This system takes more time and money to construct, but it works very well if maintained properly. There are many different types of compost toilets that can have urine and small amounts of water go through them. However, toilets like these need removal pipes, which can remove liquid from the toilet box and flow it directly into a water cleansing system. These toilets are good for large houses, ecotourism facilities, offices, and towns. More research must be done before attempting to make a compost toilet. If it is not built correctly, it will require a lot of extra maintenance and will not produce good compost. Most houses in the city have septic tanks. Using septic tanks will reduce bacteria problems and therefore reduce disease caused from this bacteria. Some important things to consider. Build septic tanks as far away as possible from wells, water pumps, and rivers. Overflow from septic tanks can pollute water supplies and can make people sick. Add a small amount of lime twice a year to help balance the pH levels. pH is the measure of acidity or alkalinity. For more information about pH, see Module 4, Healthy Soil. Don't use bleaches for cleaning the toilet because it kills good bacteria needed for decomposing manure. Water supply and storage. Collecting water. Collecting water is hard work, which takes up many hours each day. Women and children most often do this task. If water can be collected closer to the house, much time and energy can be saved and used for other activities. This will improve the life of the whole family. Family household water collection. The roof of the house, kitchen, and washroom can be used to collect water. In the United States, I think you have to check regulations with this. A tin metal roof can catch a lot of water when it rains. Bamboo cut in half can be used as a gutter to collect water and flow it into a tank or drum. Water can be brought into the house through simple metal, plastic, or bamboo piping. Water for gardens and ponds can be collected through swales. Make the swale trenches so that the water flows slowly in one direction. At the end of where the water flows, redirect the overflow water using rocks. This water can be directed into a pond or water storage hole to be used for animal, vegetable, or fish production. Community water collection. 1. Water springs are a traditional source of water. These springs need to be protected from animals and damage. An animal drinking hole should be separate. Bamboo or metal pipes can be used to run water to communities, which can then be stored in large permanent storage tanks. Overflow water from the storage tanks can be run into pits or swales and used to water fruit trees and vegetables. Using the overflow water in this way will also reduce mosquito problems. 2. Water pumps and bores are also good methods of collecting water. They can be made for each house, but will be much less expensive if they are used for a group of houses. 3. A community well must be kept clean to avoid the spread of disease through dirty water. Add a 1 meter tall circular wall made of stone or cement around the well. This will prevent dirty water entering the well or animals making the well dirty. An animal drinking hole should be separate. Don't use dirty buckets or cans as water containers. Make a cover for the well to help reduce mosquito breeding. 4. Petrol pumps or ram pumps can be used to pump water uphill to be stored in tanks. Ram pumps do not use petrol and require very little maintenance. For more information about ram pumps, see Module 12, Appropriate Technology. 5. Working with the government to provide water for cities or villages. Smart ideas. In mountain areas where it is very cold at night, drops of dew can be collected using metal roofs. This dew water can be stored in drums or storage tanks, especially during the dry season. Even though this is just a small amount of water, it will help reduce the hard work of collecting water. Store water in the wet season. Rainwater can be stored in tanks, but usually tanks will not hold all of it. The extra water can be stored in the ground, in ponds, and by trees which you can plant. Trees store water in their roots, trunk, branches, and leaves. A shallow trench can be dug around the house in places where the rain falls, and then filled with gravel. Use the soil from digging the trench to make the ground higher on the side closer to the house. This will help to keep the house dry during the wet season. Design the trench so that water flows away from the house. Water can be run to vegetable gardens, compost pits, etc. Water storage. Storage tanks with taps can be used to store water. This makes water usage much easier. A storage tank can catch water from water pipes, pumped water, or even water collected from a roof. Water storage tanks can be made from cement, plastic, tin, or aluminum. Old drums can also be used, but they must be cleaned first to make sure all the leftover petrol is removed. Clean used drums using the following steps. Wash well with detergent. That's number 1. Number 2, rinse with water. Number 3, dry out for 1 week in the sun before use. Let's see, a forest above a village will protect the village water supply. Reforestation around the village. Reforestation around villages and cities will help store water because more rainwater soaks into the ground, reducing erosion. Also, it will keep the store of groundwater more constant. This is very important for future water supply. And it will provide leaves for mulch, which will also keep more water stored in the ground. It reduces strong winds, which can dry out the soil. Reforestation is very important, especially if water is being collected directly from the groundwater. Without trees, water quality and water levels will drop, making it more difficult to reach the groundwater. This has already happened in many countries. It's best to learn from other people's mistakes. Keeping water clean. To reduce the chances of disease, household water that is stored must be kept clean. This can be done by covering water storage tanks to prevent mosquito breeding, not using dirty buckets or cans to carry water, especially if there are no taps. Use moringa seeds. Detailed instructions will follow. Regularly clean water sources and piping. Cleaning drinking water. Moringa seeds. The seeds of the moringa tree can be used to clean water of dirt and most bacteria. This is a simple and effective way to make water drinkable. It is used in Africa, India, and other countries. This technique also saves a lot of firewood, energy, and time because water does not have to be boiled. How to use the moringa seeds. 1. Remove some seeds from the pod and peel the outer shell off the seeds. 2. Crush the seeds into a fine powder. Don't use discolored seeds. That's brown colored. Add 2 small spoons of this moringa seed powder into 1 clean water bottle. That's 1,500 milliliter aqua bottle. Shake for 5 minutes. Filter this solution through a clean cloth into the bucket of water that is to be treated. Stir quickly for 2 minutes, then slowly for about 10 minutes. Leave still for 1 hour. This number 7. Leave still for 1 hour. The dirt and bacteria, usually between 90 to 99%, will stick to the moringa seed powder and sink to the bottom of the water. 8. Carefully pour the clean drinking water into clean bottles or containers, leaving the powder at the bottom of the bucket. You can also use a drum to clean water as described above, and then scoop off the treated water from the top. Community ideas. You can use moringa seeds to clean large amounts of water. Use about 1 kilogram of the seed powder for 10,000 liters of water, about 1 gram for every 10 liters. Clay water filters. Water filters are used to clean water of bacteria that can make people ill. This means that all drinking water can be cleaned and that the water does not need to be boiled before drinking. A simple water filter can be made using bowls of clay which have been fired in an oven. These bowls have a special base which allows water to slowly pass through it. Water filter cross-section. All right, how do clay water filters work? Clay is made up of millions of very small particles which are joined together. The clay particles, when joined together, form even smaller holes between them. Water will pass through these holes very slowly. The size of the holes depends on what type of clay is used. Different types of clay have different sized particles and different sized holes between them. Unclean water carries a lot of bacteria, but the size of the bacteria is larger than these holes at the base of the clay bowls. As the water flows through the holes in the clay, the bacteria become separated from the water. This makes the water safe enough to drink. These clay water filters must be fired in a proper oven to work well. Clay shrinks as it is fired, so the holes become even smaller during this process. The temperature of the firing will affect the size of the holes in the following ways. If the holes in the clay are too small, the water will take a long time to flow through. If the holes in the clay are too large, bacteria will not be stopped and the water will not be clean. This is why meticulous testing and proper firing must be done so that clay filters work well. How do you use a clay water filter? Clay water filters are very easy to use. Simply pour water into the top bowl, and the water will slowly filter through the base into the bowl below. Bacteria and dirt will be caught and will stay in the bowl above. Drink the water from the bottom container. The base of the top bowl may become blocked from bacteria or other material that becomes caught, so it should be cleaned often. Use a brush, boiling water, lemon, and vinegar to clean it. Do not use washing powder. There are many other types of water filters. One other type is very similar, but instead it uses silver nitrate, a natural antibacterial mineral, in the top clay bowl to help clean the water. Okay, remember this stuff is from Indonesia and what they do. We may have different things here in America. Smart ideas. Most water can be cleaned using moringa seed. If you use this technique and then filter the water through a clay water filter, this will make the water filter last much longer and the water very safe to drink. Reducing mosquito problems. Extra water during the wet season can be stored in ponds or banana pits by using trenches and swales. This will prevent stagnant water from forming on the ground so that mosquitoes will only be able to lay their eggs inside the pond. Fish, frogs, lizards, and insects that live in and around the pond will eat the mosquito eggs and larvae in the water. This will help to reduce mosquitoes and hence the diseases they spread. These insects and small creatures will also eat some of the pests that feed on your vegetables. Beware. Chemicals from pesticides and herbicides can kill a lot of plants and animals that live in ponds and aquaculture systems. Other ways of handling mosquito problems. Don't leave water stagnant in open places. Cover all water tanks and containers. Treat wastewater properly. Keep small fish, tilapia are best, in containers of water that will be used for washing, not in water that will be used for drinking. They will eat mosquito larvae. Keep fish in rice paddies to eat mosquito larvae. Prune off old banana leaves regularly because mosquitoes like to stay there. Add neem leaves to every pond regularly. For compost pits, soak a handful of neem leaves in a bucket for 2 days. Then pour some liquid with the neem leaves into every compost pit. Repeat this every 3 months. Mosquitoes represent not only a community issue, but also a national issue. Education about disease prevention and mosquito life cycles is very important. Keeping the community water supply free of mosquitoes will help to reduce this problem. Community buildings and land. Community buildings and land are a great opportunity to give examples of how to improve the community. This could include examples of how to improve housing, the community making compost toilets on community land for community use, collecting and storing water using community buildings, examples of stoves, ovens, and other appropriate technology. Combine these ideas with other ones like gardens, nurseries, seed banks, etc., working with schools and community organizations as part of the community development process. National plans. National plans for improving community housing is very important. This includes clean water supply, waste management, disaster prevention, education about health and disease prevention. Communities need to work together with the government to develop plans. But first, the government must hear from the communities what they most need and how they can work together in achieving this. A continual process. Housing and water supply is a continual process. Improvements can always be made more beautiful while saving time and by using different technologies to achieve more benefits.